As a pastor, I am constantly looking for inspiration for sermons. I mean, think about it for a second. Between Sunday services, special services, funerals, weddings, and other occasions, I preach 75 plus messages a year. That means I got to figure out what God wants me to preach on 75 times. And that's why I live my life with my eyes open and my ears listening, because you never know what's going to inspire you to preach a sermon. Like maybe this week, I'm supposed to preach a sermon on anger. Okay, maybe not anger. Maybe it's supposed to be gluttony. That's interesting. Maybe it's not supposed to be gluttony, though. Maybe it's supposed to be obedience.
Raggy! Stop!
Well, if you're not feeling that one, maybe it's supposed to be a sermon on hospitality.
He's away. Torture him.
Do you want me to go?
Get out.
Okay. Sorry. Bye. Should I leave? Bye.
See what I mean? So which one is it? Well, it's actually none of the above. Because today's inspiration comes from Positive Action. Positive Action? What in the world is that? Well, it's actually a program that Terry and I have been helping the teachers implement in the elementary schools for the last 5 years. It's a socio-emotional learning program that's sponsored by the Karn City Communities That Care. It teaches kids things like empathy, honesty, respect, personal hygiene, setting goals, friendships, and more. The reason that we chose to accept this position when we were asked is because we're big believers in the program and the theories behind it. See, the grounding theory behind Positive Action involves positive and negative wheels. And the theory behind these wheels is that if you think positive, then you will do positive things, which will make you feel positive. And because you feel positive, you will then think positive, which will make you feel positive and do positive things, and so on and so on and so on. And it makes sense, doesn't it? And when we can get our elementary kids to stay on this positive wheel, their grades increase, anxiety goes down, depression goes down, bullying goes down. Overall, their general quality of life, it shoots way up. And that is just from making an effort to stay on the green circle. Do you know why I love this program? Well, I love it because, frankly, Jesus would have loved it. And imagine just how great this concept would be if we added a spiritual component to it. I mean, it would exponentially increase its benefits. I mean, this is basically what Paul is advocating in Philippians chapter 4. Let me read you Philippians chapter 4, starting at verse 8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Think about such things. Think. Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, what part of the circle would that be? That'd be think. Verse 9, whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. Oh, there's another part of the circle, isn't there? What part is that? Act. Put into practice. Think, act. And then it closes. Finally, and the God of peace will be with you. What part of the circle? Feel. Isn't that crazy? We will feel God's peace when we think and act. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And the truth is, God has his own circle. And this circle is an incredible circle. And once you hop onto it and get used to it, man, it really brings joy and peace to your life. But remember, if God has a green circle, then there's also a red circle. So if God gets his circle, then guess what? The devil has one too. And please don't tell anybody a positive action that I stuck the devil in the middle of their circle. I might get in trouble for that, I'm not sure. But the truth is, the devil has a circle just like God. And it's a circle that once you hop on it, man, it's tough to get back off. If you think evil, you will do evil, so you will feel evil, which will make you think evil. I mean, just plug in any sin into this red circle and see what happens. If you tell a lie, it will fill you with fear that you might get caught, so your mind says you got to cover this up, which then makes you lie even more. Think, act, feel. If you look at pornography, it will fill you with guilt, which will weaken your marriage, which will make you more likely to turn to pornography. Think, act, feel. If I get stuck thinking about something wrong to someone who did something to me, it will cause me to get irritated, which will then cause me to lash out in anger, which will then cause me to feel annoyed. And when you're annoyed, you'll think about how someone deserves to be punished. Think, act, feel. Do you get it? I mean, pretty much name any sin, and they can all easily turn into a circle that does not end. And they feed into each other. And they make sure that you get stuck on this thing going round and round and round. And just stop for a second and think. Haven't we all had a friend or family member that just sucks the life right out of you because they're in a constant state of depression and gloominess? They're caught in a devil's circle. Haven't we had someone that always sees the bad in everything? They're caught in a devil's circle. Don't we know somebody who makes the same mistakes over and over again? Is that person us? We get caught in a circle. Don't we? Don't sometimes we get stuck on the circle? And here's what we need to realize. Listen to me. Everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we feel, everything that we look at is going to put us on one of two circles. You're going to be on God's circle or you're going to be on the devil's circle. It's going to be one or the other. And you must choose carefully because sometimes it sure is tough to get off the devil's. How then do we make sure that we're choosing God's circle? Well, I can tell you, it doesn't happen by accident. Yeah, it's got to be purposeful. And where does it start? Well, where does it start on those circles? I mean, they're circular, but it seems to start with thoughts. Let's look again at Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Think about such things. Okay, right there, folks. It gives us the answer. If you want to stay on God's circle, then you must think about godly things. Okay, I get that, but this list is a little confusing, isn't it? True, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable. What kind of list is that? How do I know if I'm getting it right or not? Well, it seems with a list like this that the devil might be able to confuse me. I wouldn't know. Don't you think?
Ahora sí caíste. no huele.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we can get tricked. But here's the thing. I know that you like to think that this is complicated and that we could innocently get it wrong because of this list, but here's the truth. You know. You do. You know. You know the difference between God and the devil. You know the difference between a frog and an ice cream cone. I just used that clip the other week, but I love it so much. I feel like you're going to see a lot of it this year. But here's the reality. Even if you pretend like you didn't know, you figure it out pretty quickly, don't you? And that's what we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear it. Because we'd rather pretend like we're confused. Like, oh, I didn't know that was bad. Yeah. And here's the problem. Everything you watch on TV, everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that you listen to on the radio, everything that you look at, everything that you think about, everything that you do, they all pretty easily fit on one of two wheels. It's either God's wheel or the devil's wheel. And let's be honest, you already know this. Playing dumb doesn't change the truth. You can't fool God into thinking you didn't realize. The things that you choose in life are either going to fill you with good thoughts, good feelings, good actions, or they're going to fill you with bad thoughts, bad feelings, bad actions. You already know what shows you should and shouldn't watch. You know what music you should and shouldn't listen to. You know what things you should and should not look at. You know what you should and shouldn't say, read, do, think. Come on, there's no confusion. That's just a bogus excuse. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, praiseworthy, these things are on God's wheel. And you know what's on his wheel. And whatever isn't, that's the other wheel. I mean, those are the only two options. And in our hearts, we already knew this. We don't want to know it because we'd rather plead ignorance and sneak some of the devil stuff over to the God's wheel. That doesn't work like that. James 3:11 says, "Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water." James is saying God's stuff should be God's stuff and the devil's stuff should be the devil's stuff, and they shouldn't be mixing together in the lives of Christians. Identifying those things, that's not the real problem, is it? The real problem is that our hearts aren't willing to sacrifice all of those things that God says is bad for us. And we think that we can live our lives being godly while occasionally and purposefully immersing ourselves in something from the devil. But here's the truth. When you choose the devil, you risk getting stuck on his wheel. And do you know what his wheel circles? Yep, that's you circling the grave. Doesn't circle anything good, does it? And when you get on that wheel, man, sometimes it's hard to get off. And that's why it's so important for us to put a stop to thoughts that are not from God. And the best way to do this, stay on God's wheel. Think about good things. Listen to good things. Do good things. Surround yourself with people who love being on this wheel as much as you do. And I really want to challenge you this week. Everything you do is going to put you on one of these two wheels. So let's have a week where we try not to hop back and forth. Let's have a week where we don't try to sneak evil onto God's wheel. Guys, you can't think that you are strong enough to get on that wheel and then get back off anytime you want to. Folks, you're going to live your life on one of these two wheels. So maybe it's time we choose our wheel specifically and with purpose. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care. God bless. Hope to see you soon.